What is up, YouTube? This is Fable Grimro giving you guys a deck that gained a brief moment of popularity towards the end of last year. And I'm talking about the Spectral Duke Breakride deck. Spectral Duke was a very prominent deck sort of during like the Season 2 era where like Gold Paladins were pretty dominant in the game, up there with like Kagero and Dode and some Narukami and stuff like that. But mostly it was a lot of the Gold Paladin variants. There was Duke, Pelennor, just standard like armor builds, stuff like that. But it was around the time of the end of the World Championship regional qualifiers. They ended up delaying the release for set 10 for a little bit so that the some of the newer Season 3 decks wouldn't be quite as dominant. During this time, the only Breakride that we had mostly was Vert, who was the Bermuda Triangle Breakride from the Extra Booster. And towards the end, around the New York regional, which was the one that I went to, the Narukami and the Gold Paladin, the Eradicator and Liberator decks both got released, and the Spectral Duke Breakride build became very prominent during those events. I believe at the New York regionals where I went to, decks such as this one topped was actually placed 3rd and 4th, even though the top was actually like Tsukuyomi and Galactic Beast Zeal or something like really offbeat like that. But this was a rather pretty good deck for a brief moment, sort of like a transitional from like the old Season 2 Gold Paladins to like the Liberators. It's a very in-between deck. And as I'm trying to get the Liberator stuff together still, trying to get some of the Liberator Perfect Guards and Alfreds and stuff like that, I pieced together the Duke Breakride build. So let me give you guys the rundown on this today. We have our starter is the Black Dragon Well Vortimer, who is the start of the Ride Chain. If something besides the Grade 1 Vortimer rides over it, you can call him to rear guard. Just use him as an extra booster or whatever. And then when you ride the Grade 1 over him, you can look at the top 7 cards of your deck for Spectral Duke Dragon or Black Dragon Knight Vortimer, who's the Grade 3 and the Grade 2, and add it to your hand. Trigger lineup: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 criticals. Gold Paladins gain their advantage mostly from calling from the top of your deck, and in a very aggressive deck that does a lot of superior calling like this. 12 criticals to sort of give an extra push, especially with a restanding Vanguard. Very helpful. The 4 Flame of Victories are an absolute must, because if they ended up getting called to the field, you can use the skill to add him to the soul to give a Gold Paladin plus 3,000. So yeah, 12 critical, 4 heal. I think one of the guys that actually topped at the New York event actually ran 16 critical. I wouldn't overly recommend doing it, but I mean, if that's your thing. Still like my heal triggers. On a Grade 1s, we have the 4 Perfect Guard, rather standard. It's the old mark. Old mark works fine if you don't have the Liberator marks for this build. 4 of the Grade 1 Vortimer. If you have the starter in your soul, he gets plus 1,000, so he's 8k on Vanguard. And then when the Grade 2 rides over him, you can offer one of your Gold Paladin rear guards to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and call them to an open rear guard. So sort of lets you trade 1 on rear guard for for 2 from your deck. And you have to have the starter in your soul as well to use this ability. But it's a very nice way as you ride up to gain field presence, card advantage, an early rush. If you call like a grade 2 or a grade 3 really early, and especially one with like a skill, works out very well. Next, for Gareth, who's the 8K vanilla, just solid all around, nice booster. 8K vanillas are just, standardly pretty darn good. And then to round out the grade 1s, we have 2 Listener of Truth and Drains. She's not quite as good in this build as the Garmor build, or the Bunny build, as you're not running. It's not quite as sacky, but still, it's very nice when you get to call her off the top with your riding, and then you kind of get like raw draw power that way. Still a very good card. And then being only 6K, it's nice when you can just like call her and then sack her for your ride chain skills. As I just toss her all over the table here. Let's see. On to grade 2s. For Black Dragon Knight Vortimer, the next part of the ride chain, if you have the grade 1 in the soul, he gets plus 1,000 on Vanguard, so he's 10K on Vanguard. And then when you ride Spectral Duke on top of him, if you have grade 1 in your soul, it's the same. You get to off one of your Gold Paladin rear guards, look at the top 2 cards of your library of your deck, and call any Gold Paladins to open rear guards. And very, very nice skill. Like, the ride chain isn't as necessary in Duke, but like, if you get it to go off, it's the pluses that you get are just phenomenal. So along with him, we got for the 10K vanilla. I'm running him honestly because I don't have 4 Blaster Dark Spirits. If I had 4 Blaster Dark Spirits, which I can probably go online and find them for like less than $1 now, as they just really aren't played that much anymore. But the 10K vanilla works just as nice too. It's sort of like a preference thing where 10K is just, solid, constant 10K. The Blaster Dark Spirit, he's also 10K, but if he's attacked on the rear guard, he's automatically retired. But he has the additional skill of when you're calling off the top of your deck, you kind of blast 1 and retire a rear guard. So it's sort of like a preference thing. I'm just running the regular 10K for the time being because a little bit more solid, a little more consistent, I guess. But if I had the Blasted Dark Spirits, I'd probably run them. And then also 3 Player of the Holy Bow Vivian. She's been a standard for Gold Paladins pretty much up until with the new Liberator support. But she's been one of their best units. So Vanguard or Rear Guard, when she hits a Vanguard, if she's boosted by a Gold Paladin, you can counterblast 1 to look at the top card of your deck if it's a Gold Paladin and call to an open Rear Guard. Again, just more deck calling. She works extremely well with any Gold Paladins really, but especially in Duke, she works fantastic. And then to round out the deck, you got the 3 Breakride Solitary Liberator Gancelot. He was the trial deck guy, came with the Blaster Blade Liberator. So when he attacks a Vanguard, he gets plus 2,000. Your standard Lord skill, which I don't even know that really applies to anything anymore. And then his limit break is that when a Gold Paladin rides his unit, your Vanguard gets plus 10,000, and then up to 3 of your Gold Paladin rear guards get plus 5,000. So the Breakride turn, if you miss the Duke ride chain, you can just ride him and then ride Duke on top of him. Get plus 5,000 to all the rear guards that you've been calling out with your skills in your ride chain this turn. And then also make note that your Spectral Dukes are restanding, so that way you're getting the plus 10,000 power with a restanding Duke. So here's the main guy, Spectral Duke Dragon. He's 10k on his own, but if you have the grade 2 in the soul, he gets a plus 1,000, so he's your more basic 11k, which sort of like is the new standard for grade 3 Vanguards right now. And then his limit break is Counterblast 2, choose 3 of your Gold Paladin rear guards and retire them. At the beginning of the close-up, discard battle a unit. This card battles a Vanguard. You can pay the cost, and then you get to restand him, but he loses Twin Drive. Back in the day, he was probably up there with Dragonic Overlord at the end as like one of the best restanding Vanguards. Now, thanks to things like Raging Form, Revenger, and just some other cards that do it better, Duke is seeing less and less play. I mean, he's still a very, very potent, solid card, but with the new Season 3 stuff, he hasn't really translated quite as well outside of like this deck. But it's still very, very nice deck as far as Gold Paladin goes. If people are looking for some other decks besides Liberators, this deck was a very prominent deck, and personally I've wanted to make Spectral Duke for a long time, as it was a Gold Paladin that IG did not use in the show. I think Ren used this as sort of like his new boss Vanguard during Season 2 shenanigan arc with Gold Paladins. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Eventually I'm gonna make this into just the full Liberator deck whenever I get the rest of my Liberator stuff in. But for now, this has been doing pretty solid for me. So let me know what you guys think. Peace out, YouTube.